Hi, my name is Roseanne Calabrese and I'm an acupuncture physician in the state of Florida. I also specialize in something called detoxification and rejuvenation. And I think the term detoxification is used quite a lot these days. Walk into any health food store and you will find some type of kit, vitamins, homeopathics and such that are telling you that they will be able to detoxify you in 7 days or 10 days or sometimes 21 days. And the truth of the matter is, logically speaking and scientifically speaking, it's quite impossible to detoxify your body in 5 days or 7 days or even 21 days. It's a good start, certainly. It's a good way to be conscious that there is something that needs to be done, but it's not really effective to reverse the process of disease. And when we talk about the process of disease, it is just that. Disease doesn't occur overnight out of nowhere. There's a process that goes on in the body over time, over a long period of time, in order for a disease to occur, for a disease to manifest. And so today I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about that process. I want to talk to you about your body so that you understand your body. I want you to understand your body because if you don't understand your body and how it works, then how can you understand how to reverse that process of disease? So we want to start with the basics of the body. We want to start with a little bit of anatomy, some physiology, and a little chemistry thrown in there as well. But don't worry, it's not going to take that long. We want to stay simple because as the body goes, yes, its functions can be quite diverse and quite complicated. But really, when we think about the body in nature, when we think about the human being as a species, we want to look at the simplicity of it. And if we do, if we understand the simplicity of the body, then we can really understand how to change things in it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the 3 basic parts of the human body, or the 3 basic components that make up the human body. Component number 1 are your cells. If you remember high school biology class, you learned about the cells. And there's skin cells, and there's bone cells, brain cells, kidney cells, stomach cells. Trillions and trillions of cells in the human body. And they all have very specific functions. And then there are 2 fluids of the body. The first fluid you're very familiar with. The first fluid is your blood. And you're so familiar with that because whether you're feeling poorly or whether you're feeling fine, when you go to the doctor for a checkup, that's usually one of the most basic tests that they use to look at what's going on inside your body. They draw your blood. So you're very familiar with that body fluid. But there's a second fluid of your body that your doctor really doesn't talk to you about. On very, very rare occasions will it come up. And that fluid is called lymphatic fluid. Now your cells, as we said, have very, very varying jobs that they do. Every cell of your body has a different function, and the functions happen at different times in the body. But suffice it to say, the cells have many, many different functions. But they all have something in common. All of your cells need nourishment. In other words, all of your cells need to eat. And it is your blood that delivers this nourishment to every single cell of your body. Your blood brings vitamins, minerals, nutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, sugars to every cell of your body as it needs it. And so we like to call the blood the kitchen. It's the provider of the food. And being Italian, we like that. So, the blood is the kitchen. It provides food to all of the cells of your body. Now, once the cells take in their nutrition, process it, carry out whatever metabolic function they have, they then produce waste, cellular waste, metabolic waste. And they must get rid of that waste. Now, I'm going to ask you a basic question. Every day you eat, every day, hopefully, you eliminate, you poop. How often do you poop in your kitchen? Not often, hopefully. Never, preferably. Well, your cells are the same way. Your cells do not eliminate the vastness of the metabolic waste that they create into the blood. That would be like pooping in the kitchen. Instead, your cells eliminate their waste into the lymphatic system, the fluid, the clear fluid. Now you're wondering, where exactly is this lymph? Because we've talked about it being saliva, we've talked about spitting in a glass and looking at it and observing that that's lymphatic fluid. But certainly, it's got to be somewhere else. Well, it is. Your lymphatic fluid surrounds every single cell of your body. Every single cell is surrounded by lymph fluid. Kind of like a fish in a fish tank. You take a little fish in a goldfish bowl. Imagine that goldfish is your cell. And then the water that surrounds him is the lymphatic fluid. Let's take it a step further. Let's imagine in our goldfish bowl that we have dozens of goldfish. They're in that bowl, suspended in the water, shoulder to shoulder or fin to fin. Well, the water that surrounds them, that suspends them, is going to represent the lymph. And of course, those goldfish are going to represent your cells. Good visual? Okay. So now we've got it. We've got our cells, we've got our blood, we've got our lymph. Our cells carry out many, many, many different types of functions. The blood provides the nutrients to the cells, so we call it the kitchen. And the lymph is the sewer system, the bathroom. So the cells release their waste into the lymphatic fluid that surrounds them. Think about that crowded fishbowl. So now that waste is sitting around the cells. Well, that doesn't sound like a good idea. That doesn't sound like a place it should stay. So the waste moves. It moves with the lymph. Now your blood moves via the pumping of your heart. But the lymph doesn't have a pump. It relies on your movement. Even if that movement is just breathing. Breathing in and of itself will move lymph. Certainly walking, standing, exercising, moving your body more so will move lymph more. But that lymph must move, and it must move the waste from around the cells in that fishbowl. Well, the lymph not only sits around the cells, but it actually has its own vascular system. Much like your blood vessels, but again, no pump. So the lymph moves from your movement, and then it moves into the lymphatic vessels. From there, it continues along, and as it finds its way throughout this lymphatic vascular system, it stops at the lymph nodes. Because within the lymph nodes, there are bacteria, there's white blood cells. There are things there to help break this waste down. And as the waste gets broken down and sent back into the stream of the lymphatic system, it finds its way out of the body. Now, how does it do that? Well, it finds its way out of the body in 3 ways. First, through your kidneys, when you urinate. I should say first and foremost, because those kidneys take on a lot of work, take on a lot of filtration of the body's congested waste system, of the lymphatic system. So first, the waste is removed through the kidneys. Secondarily, there's a certain amount that's eliminated through the colon. And third, the waste is also eliminated through the skin when you sweat. We like to call the skin the third kidney. It's very, very important. And when the kidneys get tired or overworked, and we'll talk about that a little later, the skin takes over or tries to help out. So now, you've got the process that the waste gets eliminated through the body, through the kidneys when you urinate, through the colon when you have a bowel movement, and through your skin when you sweat. The whole system is a great system. The function, the thought, the energy behind it is perfection. And when it's working, the body is healthy. There's no doubt. The question becomes, why would it stop working? What stops it? What causes this wonderful system to no longer work well and therefore lead to disease? And when we talk about disease, mind you, it's not just the big C. It's not just cancer or when I had thyroid disease, Graves' disease, autoimmune diseases. We're talking about headaches. We're talking about menstrual pain. We're talking about backaches. We're talking about infertility. These things also come into the same category as far as we're concerned as disease and things to be reversed. So, how then does this perfect system have a problem? Well, that comes down to the chemistry portion of this lesson. And that is, as far as chemistry is concerned, whether you're talking about science, the environment, or your body, there are only two sides to chemistry. There is the acid side of chemistry, and there is the alkaline side of chemistry, or what we might call the base side of chemistry. Just two sides. The more acid chemistry we put into the body, the more lymphatic congestion we are going to create. In other words, think again about that fish bowl. The more fish we put into it, if we don't have a proper filter, the more waste that's going to get produced, and eventually that waste is going to have difficulty exiting the building, so to speak. Meaning, the more acid we put in the body, the more lymphatic congestion we create in the body. The more that lymphatic congestion goes on, the more inflammation that occurs in the body. Leave that inflammation and don't do anything to reverse it, you're going to have degeneration. Degeneration of cells, tissues, organs, glands. And if you let that degeneration go on long enough, you are going to be diagnosed at some point in your life with a disease. Now, it sounds very simple how we got there. The question then becomes, how do we get out? How do we reverse this? Can we reverse this? Can we get that cat to walk backwards, so to speak? And the answer is, yes, we can. In other words, the more acid you have in the body, the more this process of disease gets worse and worse and worse. On the flip side, the more you work to alkalize the body, the more the process of disease backs up. If you alkalize the body, you begin to reduce inflammation. That same inflammation that started right after that major acid buildup in the body. As you alkalize, you reverse that inflammation. As you reverse the inflammation, the cells, tissues, organs, and glands that were breaking down have the ability to stop that process of breakdown and even start to repair. And as each and every cell starts to repair, that disease, that diagnosis, which was part of the process, now has the ability to reverse itself. That is the basic simplicity of the human body. The anatomy, your cells, your blood, and your lymph. The physiology, the kitchen and the bathroom, blood, lymphatic system. And your chemistry, acids and alkalizing foods. Let's get to that a little bit though. When we talk about acids, what are we talking about? Well, besides food, and we'll get into that more deeply, there are other things that cause an acid buildup in the body. There are many things. We are exposed every day in our own homes to hundreds of chemicals. Hundreds. From the things you wash your laundry with, to the things you wash your hair with, the makeup you put on, the deodorant you use. All of these things build up in your body. The body, the human body, or any animal body, was not meant to take these chemicals in such great volumes on such a regular basis. Those are a big part of the acids that affect the human body. Of course, there's the external environment. There's what you breathe when you go outside. But there are many studies that say that the internal environment of the home is more toxic than the external environment of the outdoors. Those are some of the acids that we have to be concerned with and start to understand that we need to change these things little by little in our homes. As you run out of toothpaste, as you run out of laundry detergent, as you run out of shampoo, you want to start to buy more natural products that have a limited or are chemical free. Number two, the biggest intake we have in our bodies today, in the human body, of acid is found in our diet. So, what are the foods in our diet that are acid forming, and what are the foods in our diet that are alkalizing? Let's start with your acid forming foods, because they are numerous. And in today's society, this is the majority of the diet. Acid forming foods start with grains. Most grains, not all, but for the most part, grains and grain products. Cereals, breads, crackers, cookies, baked goods. Grains can be very acid forming to the body. Other things that are acid forming are dairy products, yogurts, milk, cheese, ice cream, frozen yogurts, things like that. Dairy is very congesting to the lymphatic system. As a matter of fact, when we do another video on iridology, you're going to see the congestion that occurs in the eyes over a lifetime of someone eating a lot of dairy. So dairy is definitely an acid-forming food. Then there's animal proteins that come from flesh. That is your chicken, your fish, your turkey, ham, pork products, beef products. All of these things are acid-forming to the body. They produce secondary acids in the process of digestion, like ketonic acid or uric acid. They produce ammonias. All of these things are very destructive to the cells of the human body. So when we detoxify, when we rejuvenate the body, we remove all acid-forming foods. So what do we put in? What is alkaline? What are foods that are alkalizing to the body? Well, when we detoxify, we're going to stick to two main aspects of alkalinity. That is fruits and vegetables, with an emphasis, a strong emphasis on fruit. Now, I know you're thinking, fruit, wait a second, there are a lot of acids in fruit, like pineapples, oranges, lemons, limes. And that's true. When we categorize fruit, there are three main categories. There are your sweet fruits, like your bananas, peaches. There are your subacid fruits, like kiwis, berries. And then there are your acid fruits, your pineapples, oranges, lemons, limes, things like that. But the good news is, with the exception of maybe 2 fruits in the whole world of fruit, all of those fruits are alkalizing to your body. Even the lemons, limes, grapefruits, oranges, pineapples. The 2 fruits that we tend to keep out during detoxification, cranberries and blueberries. Otherwise, all fruit is allowed, all fruit is acceptable. So, to recap, in order to detoxify the body, step number 1 is clean the sewer. Clean out that lymphatic system. How we do that? Alkalize, alkalize, alkalize. That means we remove all of the acids in a period of time. in order to be able to get the body function back to normal, back to homeostasis, back to nature.